end of the gun.
Good day, everyone. As always, I appreciate the continued support. That said, if you remember from my introduction video, I said I do trivia with prizes rewarded. Well, a promise is a promise. So if you can tell me what this cream puff is, year, make, and model, and I'll give you a hint, it's missing the headlight and tail light. First person to get it right will get their favorite can of penetrating oil. That said, on today's video, we're still waiting on engine parts for the 1992 CR250. So other projects we need to get done on the bike is paint. That said, let's see if we can make it happen. We're also going to be reusing the subframe given the overall condition of the bike. That said, we're finishing the sandblasting. As you can see here, we're almost through it. We're going to be welding in a new seat hold down. I got the welds ground down. I'll show you what I got for that. We're going to be cleaning up the existing broken welds. And for this shit show, I believe what I'm going to do is use a hole saw and just cut around that and weld in a nut. That's the best idea my two brain cells could come up with. So yeah, let's finish this up. I'll bring you along and we'll try and make it happen. Okay, so sandblasting is done, as you can see here, and we started to do some rough grinding on our existing welds here. We're gonna probably touch it up weld-wise in a couple places. Right there, probably gonna add a little weld, and I don't know if you can see this. Where are we there? There's actually a space right there. We might hit that. So next step is we're going to put the seat in place, like so. Try to line it up as best we can where it goes. Okay, and then I got a piece of scrap metal that was laying around, and I cut the ends to follow the frame, and we're just going to kind of set this in place. Our metal's in place, and we're just gonna mark it approximately where it needs to go. And then we are going to bring the subframe over to the main frame and make sure that distance between here and here is good before we weld on that and not screw it up. All right, so I actually had to bring this distance in, 1 3/4 inches, so I just clamped it and brought it in. We're set there. Here is our piece in place, yeah, I'm happy where it is. Pulled some measurements off the subframe, and it's equal distance everywhere, so let's get it welded up. Okay, so we got that burned in. I would say I could call that as good as, if not better, than factory. Wouldn't you agree? Nope, me neither. We also got that filled in here, low point with weld. Messed with this a little bit. And so all we have left is finish grinding, but first we still have this nut that we need to cut out and replace, so let's do that next. apologies, my phone stopped recording, but we did continue forward, and there's the end result. I know, it looks like the ass into hard times. I got a little overzealous with the welder and it started to melt the nut. Unfortunately, I was able to chase the threads and save it. I need to get a little die grinder to clean up those areas, those hard to reach areas. But yeah, we got that, and basically left a big hole, so I just welded in a big fat nut. Again, I know it looks brutal, but you're never gonna see it, and it is what it is. But I just welded in a big fat thick nut, and then obviously welded the new nut on this side, and more importantly, we now have an anchor point for our seat. That said, we got our brace in. We ground down a lot of the messy welds. I know it's rough, but it's better than it was. Everything's going to function, and now it's ready for paint, in my opinion. And it cost us nothing. We're going from powder coat to paint can for obvious reasons. One is money, two is to learn something new, and three is to keep the theme of the bike going, i.e. hot mess. If you want to come up with a name for this bike, I would appreciate it. The obvious choice in my mind would be Honda CR250. That said, I believe I got everything I need to do the frame and subframe. I picked Duplicolor because that's what the parts store had in stock. So let's see if we can make this happen. I'm going to add the acetone into the spray bottle for application because I'm lazy and I just think it's going to be faster and easier. So I came across this bird feeder holder, plant holder I had in stock, and seems to work pretty good holding our frame and subframe. You can also see I have the frame prepped. I ended up using vacuum caps to go in the threaded holes. Oh, missed one. And the reason I did that is because that's what I had in stock. I taped off where the swing arm goes. I'm assuming that's a pretty tight tolerance, and I don't want to fight it going back in. So yeah, this is what we got going on. It's not ideal conditions today. It's very hot, very humid. It's the morning, but it's supposed to be that way for the unforeseeable future. So we got to work with what we got. That said, let's get started and see if we can make it happen. So we have all our frame and subframe wiped down with acetone and ready to go for primer. We're going to start laying our Duplicolor primer down. It says to do 2 light coats and 1 medium. I don't know if you guys have seen the price of these paints lately, but yeah, what we're going to do is stretch these cans as much as possible. I couldn't get over the price. I know eggs have come down, but this stuff is astronomical right now. So let's go ahead and see if we can make it happen. I actually ordered these off Amazon, and I thought I ordered self-etching primer, and I thought I ordered clear coat. What I got was a filler primer and a plastic adhesion clear. So I then had to run back out and grab another clear, and we're just using this filler primer instead of the etching primer. is a bit breezy, and that is not helping our cause. But I don't have a paint booth, so again, we just got to make do with what we got. Gotta wait for the breeze because we need every particle of this stuff. You know what I mean? But disclaimer like always, I don't do this for a living, so as always, go easy on a guy. That's looking pretty good. I think I'm gonna call that good first light coat. Now it says to wait 30 minutes in between coats. I am gonna wait probably a full hour. It is so humid out. And then go from there for the next step. Round two. Before we go ahead and spray round two, we are going to take a tack cloth and just wipe everything down for any particulate from the trees, from the air, from everything. And that's just part of the prep process. So let's make it happen. As you can see, we actually, if you can see that on camera, there was stuff on there. All right, I'm gonna call that second coat. We still got a bit of paint left. We'll come back for round three, flip these around, do the spots we missed, and do another. It's supposed to be a medium coat, but we're getting on empty, so it's gonna be another light coat. All right, see you back for round three. Okay, round three. Again, we're gonna wipe it down with the tack cloth before the last coat of primer. Well, we'll call it 2.5 coats, about 2 1/4. All right, we'll let that dry and go to the next step. Okay, so after our 2.5 coats have been drying for several hours, our next step is to take some 2000 grit wet sandpaper and get after it. This is going to get rid of any grit or particles and will provide a smooth, even finish. So let's try and make it happen. Okay, well, I don't know if I did that correct. I've never done it before. Felt very awkward to me, just because I've never done it. You could definitely feel the paint go from rough to smooth in your hand, so I'm gonna call that good and call it done. That said, I'm gonna let these sit overnight, and then come the morning, we are going to start our top coat process. See you then. It is the next morning and we have let our frame and subframe sit overnight. Once again, we are going to be running the tack cloth over everything to pick up any particles, anything that's been falling on said frame and subframe overnight. You don't need to see that. And then we are going to start our top coat. We're going to be using this Duplicolor acrylic enamel, and I just noticed that this actually has paint and primer in it. I don't know how that's going to react with the primer we already have on. In my mind, it's a good thing because we were a little thin on the primer we started with. There is more heat and more humidity today, and it's more breezy. So we got it all going on. So it is what it is. We got weather coming in later, severe storms, so we're just going to try and make it happen and go from there. All right, we're gonna call that first coat done. We bring you back in for round 2. So in true Mike sense, I read the directions after I sprayed first coat. So it wants to be under 80 degrees and below 60% humidity. We don't meet either of those criteria. So we're gonna do the Mike thing and continue to march. Also, it wants to do 10 minutes in between coats, maximum 2 hours, and if you do additional coats, you gotta wait for the paint to cure 48 hours. So it's been 10 minutes, so let's get second coat on. As you can see, we're just about out. I don't know, we might have to do the 48-hour cure and do another coat. What do you think? That's all she wrote. I don't know. Doesn't look bad, but I feel like we should not skimp on the top coat. Probably have to do another one. We're ready for our last coat of white, but first, you guessed it, the old tack cloth. Very important in prep to get anything, that stuck to it over the course of the last 48 hours. So let's get after it and make it happen. The parts store didn't have the same brand of acrylic enamel white. I Duplicolor on the other one. This one is U-Pole, never heard of it. but it is the same exact type of paint, acrylic enamel paint primer in one, and it was about half the price, so I like that part. What's going to happen when we mix the two? No idea, but we're going to find out. This is definitely not going on as nice as the Duplicolor. You know the old saying, you get what you pay for. It is so humid out. The overspray is just hanging out in the air. I know that the conditions are not ideal for this, but we just need to get it done. Be interesting how this thing bonds and takes and all that stuff. It's amazing the difference in products as far as coverage and how it lays on. It's night and day difference. I feel like this is not even doing anything. All right, well, I'm going to call that a medium wet coat. We're going to let that cure for another 48 hours, and then we'll move on to the next step. We've let our frame and subframe sit for 2 days. We did bring them inside the house where it's a lot less humid. Hopefully this paint had time to cure. So now the next step is to, once again, wet sand, 2000 grit, some water. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Focus. See that orange peel? That's the purpose of wet sanding. We got some, I don't know if you can see it, some chunks there, that cheap paint. Blue chunks when it first came out. Really disappointed in that cheap paint. I'm not a professional, but you can tell the difference between the Duplicolor and that cheaper, half the price version. You get what you pay for. The white, unfortunately, makes our repairs kind of stand out like a sore thumb. But again, we didn't want to go crazy with the grinder because of how thin the existing frame was. All in all, I'm still going to take it for a first time repair. Definitely got to work on our metal finishing skills. As you can see, all the grind marks still in there. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's on the bottom. It is what it is. So let's get to wet sanding and then go from there. We are going to try and put a couple coats of gloss clear on here. It is exceptionally breezy today, but we'll see what we can do. Also, we finally caught a break in the heat and humidity. It is so nice out today. I hope wherever you are, you finally got a break too. All right, you guys and girls know the drill by now. So we're going to be using this Duplicolor 1K Clear Extreme Gloss Finish. It says it's UV protection, gas resistant, and scratch resistant. It's like the top coat, 2 to 3 coats, 2 light coats, I believe. And we want to do it 10 minutes after, within 2 hours. No wet sanding or polishing necessary. Oh, what we got going on up there? That's not good. Big Runny, somebody calling me? All right, we're gonna call that first light coat. I did run into a couple issues. Let's take a look. I don't know if this stuff is super thin. Can you see that? We got some major run there. Was I getting overzealous, too close? Hope that sands out. And then again, I did it. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. Oh, here it is. Again, we got some bit of a run there, so. My bad on that. We'll let this dry and then try and fix that mistake, those 2 mistakes, and do second coat. I don't know if it's true, but in my experience, right this very second, it seems like the clear coat is a very different animal than the paint itself. I showed you the runs. I actually found another one. Oh, where was it? right here. Focus. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's like yellow. Um, but yeah, I was able to kind of mess with this massive run. It's super, I let it dry for over an hour, and I tried to wet sand it. Super gummy. I've never worked with clear coat before. Let's start with that. And I seem to be really going reverse. You touch it anywhere, you just, even if you have gloves on, it leaves imprints. And massive learning curve on this one. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It looks okay for what it is, but I don't see the dirt. I don't know. I got dirt there. I tried to, come on camera, focus. This run over here, I can kind of see I got quite a bit of it, but there's definitely almost like a gum on there. Again, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going by watching videos and just trying to make it happen. Again, it doesn't look awful, but we definitely have to do some more studying if we did this again. Again, I got some dirt on that side. I don't know if you can see it. I know it's a dirt bike. I know what it is. I know it's been repaired, but I kind of a anal perfectionist, and it's just it'll haunt me. It'll keep me up at night. But I don't want to touch it anymore. I'm gonna just go throw a last coat on it, and hopefully we can call it done. So that said, let's do a last coat of clear, and I don't know why the camera's acting so goofy, and just be done with this frame and subframe and move on to the next part of the bike. I'll hold it even further away this time because obviously the runs were a big issue here. Uh-oh, looks thick right there. Should we call it done? I don't know. Can we let it sit in the sun? It's gonna flash too fast? No idea. Look at all the dirt I got in there. Oh my lord. So disappointed, and that's the part you see up here. It's just really screwed that up. Calling it good, I guess. So this is the, let's call it semi-final results of our paint job to our frame and subframe. I call it semi-final. Well, I'll tell you in a second. So I'm gonna say on this, it's hard to get angles here. I'm trying to get the sun bouncing off it, and as the old saying goes, distance is its best friend. So from far away, it looks pretty good. Right? Would you agree? Good. Am I happy with it? Absolutely not. Reason being is because the clear coat. I don't know what happened on the clear coat. First time working with it. Weather conditions were perfect. So as we come in here, and I'll try and get some good shots with some light. I already got it dirty, just, you see I got dirt on it, just bringing it out here, and I had gloves on. Let's see if we can get, you can kind of see it there. See the orange peel? I thought this fancy extreme gloss was gonna lay like glass. Oh, there you can see it. See the orange peel? It did not. It did not lay like glass at all. And I'm sure it's operator error, lack of experience. If I remember right, white's kind of tough to pull off, but got dirt on this side too. There's some fingerprints. That's good. So yeah, yeah, you can see the orange peel there. Is it extreme? No, it doesn't look awful for a dirt bike frame. Well, let's look at the whole picture, right? If you've been following along with this thing, the overall picture and the condition of the bike and what we're doing and our lack of experience, how's the old saying go? We're just putting lipstick on a pig, right? Do you agree? Fantastic. Is it a vast improvement? Yes. I have many hours in this between, again, if you've been following along, the sandblasting and paint removal and frame repair, and then as you'll see, reusing the subframe. It's a lot of work, but I enjoyed it, and it was a great learning experience. Would I do it again? Yes, absolutely. Would I do things different? Yes, absolutely. I would not skimp on the paint. I never would have bought that cheap half price of the Duplicolor paint. It just did not lay well. Let's back up. The primer, the 2.5 coats of primer laid really well. The first 2 coats of the Duplicolor white, for me, laid fantastic and wet sanded fantastic. But this cheap white that I ended up using the last coat on did not lay well. Didn't seem to wet sand well. And then when the wheels really fell off, it was this clear coat. Again, I don't know why it came out the way it did. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a run I missed. See the run there? Super tacky, super gooey. I was able to sand the other runs out fairly well. It was a nightmare, even after letting it dry for a couple hours. It was so gummy, and I ended up using some acetone and wet sanding it, and it wasn't fun. But that said, will I wait 48 hours? And this section looks pretty good. There are sections that, oddly enough, look really good, but then there's sections that look really, really bad. And the other factor is, I know we weren't in a paint booth. We weren't in ideal weather conditions at all. It was super high humidity, super high temperature. We didn't meet that criteria according to the paint specs, manufacturer's recommendations. The clear we did, so I don't know why that was so bad. So I'm sure that's a big factor as well. But again, will I wait the 48 hours, wet sand this, and do another coat of clear? Probably. It'll haunt me if I don't try. I got some left. I might as well try. I mean, I have the product. So yeah, this is where we're at. You don't need to see that. We're going to call it done for now. I did leave mistakes behind just for my own reference, just so next time, like you see the weld byproduct, the weld spatter. I left a lot of it because 1, I'm lazy, and 2, it's a dirt bike, and 3, it's a reminder to say, hey, we have massive room for improvement next time if we do this. Where is it here? Oh, subframe. I actually, when I was wet sanding the last coat of white, I rubbed through, and I said, you know what, just leave it. It's going to be a reminder that you need to improve and do more research and do a better job next time. But again, given the overall condition of this thing, the weld repairs really stand out like a sore thumb. But again, it's white, and again, it's a dirt bike. It's not going into a museum. We're actually gonna, you know, if we get it to run and drive, we're gonna put it through its paces and see what it does. It's gonna get dirty, it's gonna get scratched, and that's the other factor. We'll see how durable this is. Again, with, you know, not the right conditions for painting this, is this gonna hold up? Are we gonna get rust spots? Are we gonna, you know, is it gonna rub off real easy? That's all to come. So that said, I'm gonna end the video here. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Hope to see you on the next video. That's it.
That's all, folks.